Hi friend, super excited that you got your lashes. Here is a little how-to video and then also just some tips and tricks that I've learned. I would say it took me a week and a half to 2 weeks to really feel like I had it down to a science and I could do it really quick and I could do it really easily. And yeah, so don't be afraid if it takes a couple tries or if you don't have great success the first couple of times. It's just one of those things that's like the more and more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get at it. So when you get your kit, you have your 3 eyelashes. The top one is the natural lash. The second one is a winged, so it's longer on the outside. The third is a glam, so a little more fuller lash. I love them all. The first thing that you're probably going to need to do though, grab my nail trimmers, is trim your lash. So chances are it's probably a little bit too long. So all that you're gonna do for that is hold the lash up to your eye, okay? And just kind of see where it falls. So if you kind of rested it, make sure the outside and the inside are lined up. And just see how much is sticking out. I usually line up like the inside of my lash kind of, and I'm like, okay, I want it to start right there. How much is sticking out on the outside? You probably will need to trim 1 to 2 of the little magnets off. So see how much is sticking out. I would start with just trimming 1 magnet off. So you're gonna go the outside of the lash. You're gonna take your nail clippers and just, you can see the little magnets, just trim 1 magnet off, okay? And then kind of hold it up and see if that looks like that's the right size for you. I trim 1 off of all of mine, and that's the perfect fit for me. Okay, so that's step 1. Make sure you've trimmed your lash. Next, you want to make sure for the first couple weeks, I would say, that you really bend the lashes really well. They're pretty stiff. It's a nice strong band when you first get them, and you don't want them to be stiff and straight. You want them to be nice and curved. So there's 2 things that I do. So the first thing that I do is I take the end of each of the lashes and I just bend in between each of the magnets. I just kind of bend the lash, just kind of fold it over a little bit on each end, like 3 to 4 magnets in, okay? So, and then the other thing I do, you can take a pencil or an eyeshadow brush and kind of wrap it around and just hold it for a second. And this is gonna help curve that band so that it curves on your eye and stays on a lot better. So you can see how much that curved the lash. So I bend the magnets, like I said, the first probably 2 weeks that I wear the lash, or the first like 4 or 5 wears. And then usually it's bendable by that point. I do still do this trick really quickly every time before I put them on, just to give it a nice good bend. Because if it's straight, that's when it starts lifting in the corners. Okay, so eyelashes are kind of prepped and ready. So now we're going into the glue. My bottle is kind of popped off, but it's fine. So I like to use both the black and the clear. You can absolutely try one, just doing one or the other, and see how they stay on your lashes. Everyone's a little bit different. I have really oily lashes. I need like all the extra holding power I can get. So I use both, and this is how I use both. So first I'm starting with the black one. This is the magnetic, the actual magnetic liner. You want a really nice, not too thick, not too thin line that goes as close to your eyelashes as possible and just ends right where your eyelashes, where your eyelashes starts, ends where your eyelash ends. So you're just following your natural lashes. And really, like I said, this is the part I think is the trickiest, is learning how much glue to put on. You don't want it to be really, really thick and heavy. It's not like more is better in this case, but you don't want it so tiny and so thin that the magnets don't have anything to stick to. So it's really this fine line. And like I said, it took me a couple weeks to kind of figure out what that amount looked like. But you want to stay as close to your lash line as possible. I'm going to do this as well as I can. Try and stay in the camera. So I am just staying, like I said, as close to my lash line as I possibly can. Okay, and then I'm going to go on this side too. Okay, so there's a nice line. Again, it's not too thick, it's not too thin. I tried to stay as close to my lashes as possible. The last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this glue at the end. So this is one of those little tips and tricks that I learned. And come at my end this way, because when we're going this way, you can't, it's really hard to catch that outside corner, and I'm just turning the glue like this, and I'm just going to make sure it gets in that bottom corner really well, because that's one of those places it'll lift. And then I'm going to do that on the other side. I like to start in the middle of my eye so that if it is kind of more thick or goopy, it's in the center of my eyelid and not at the beginning, because I want a nice thin line right where my lashes start over here. It's just something I do because sometimes I have a heavier hand than I want. Okay, so there's our second line. Okay, so the next thing is to let this dry. I typically let it dry for a good, I'd say 3 to 5 minutes. I'll probably be a little speedier so we don't have to sit here and wait that long. But you want to make sure, see how it's kind of shiny? And you'll notice this when you put it on. It's kind of glossy and shiny. You want it to be more matte. So it's nice and wet right now. We want it to dry. So this is usually at the point where I'm like, I'm doing my hair is usually, I do my makeup, I do my eyeliner, and then this is when I'm doing my hair for the morning and letting this dry or getting dressed. So, but the other thing too you can do at this time is, this is when you too can make sure that you've kind of bent those eyelashes, bent those magnets, make sure your band is nice and pliable and has a nice curve to it. Kind of when you want to do that. Oops, I grabbed the wrong lash. No, why not? Let's wear long ones today, shall we, just for the fun of it. So you can just use this black liner and just use this by itself. Like I said, you can just use the clear by itself, see what works best for you, but we're gonna end up adding the clear here to help in just a minute. Again, I'm just letting these dry. And I feel like this was one of the things that once I did this, it made a huge difference. I was trying to go on right away, put my clear glue on and put my lashes on right away. And I was having a lot of issues with them staying on. And it's because I didn't let the glue dry. So this is a really, really important step. Make sure you give it a couple minutes to let it dry. And I think I grabbed the wrong box, but let's put on some nice long lashes, shall we, today? I don't typically wear the super long ones, but yeah, why not? Actually, though, I don't even know if I've trimmed them. Nope, I have. I've trimmed that set at least. Okay, we can wear those. These ones I probably do need to bend a little bit because I don't wear them as often, so they haven't been bent as much. So let's just make sure they're nice and bendy. For removal, since we need to wait for a minute, for removal, you just peel the eyelash off. I'm going to take your fingernail and very carefully just kind of get some of that extra glue off. Be really careful though, because if you grab too much, you might grab the band and start unraveling the band. So just really, really gently, just take some of that extra glue off, and then you just pop them right back in their set, in the case. And then to get the glue off of your eyes, they have an awesome, Globallee has an awesome remover. It's a makeup remover in general, but you just spray it right on each of your closed eyes and it comes off so easily. I highly recommend it. But micellar water is also a great option as well to help take it off when you are done at the end of the night. Okay, we're gonna say that's long enough. I probably would have given it another minute, but it's fine. So now I'm flipping around to the other end of the glue and I'm gonna use the clear, and I am just gonna put some clear right on my inside corner and outside corner. Because again, that's where the lashes have the tendency to kind of pull up, and I want all the extra staying power that I can possibly muster. So I'm just going a little bit on the outside, and this is clear glue. It comes out blue at first, which is nice because you can see where you put it, but it dries clear. So you can see I'm just going outside corner, inside corner. Just a little bit on each spot, just to really make sure those corners stay down all day long because we don't want them to budge. Okay, sorry, I'm not on the camera for that. Okay, so we have the clear glue now as well. So the magnetic one is, or the black is magnetic, the clear is just a sticky adhesive. And so the combination of the two of them is what makes these so super strong. So here we go. I am taking the applicator tool. You can also use your hand if you like that better. Play around with both, see what works best for you. I like the applicator. And I am trying to line up the lash. I am lining it up. I'm kind of looking at my beginning of my eye, the end of my eye, the two sides, and making sure it's lined up well. And then I'm gonna place the lash very carefully right where I want it. And then I'm gonna go in at both ends and make sure that they are exactly where I want them to be. So again, I'm trying to stay as close to my lash line as possible. This is what it's gonna make it look like it is your natural lash and not fake lashes. The closer you can get to your real lashes is what's gonna do that. And then I am simply just kind of pushing down all along the band. So this is a pressure activated adhesive. So you wanna make sure that there is a little bit of pressure and force, and that's what's gonna help make it stay. So I'm just going all the way along the band. Like I said, I'm just kind of pushing the lashes into the band. I'm gonna check my ends and make sure they are both on, and they are. Okay, so there you go. One lash on. And again, it dries pretty quickly. I can already start to tug and I can tell everything is staying down. So I kind of especially do a corner check and make sure that those corners are staying down. Okay, and then we're gonna go in with the other side. This is so hard to do. I'm like trying to look in this mirror and this camera. Okay. Oh. Okay, you might not be able to see this, sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry, I have to look over here. This is not happening. Okay, again, I've placed it in the middle, and now I'm going to both ends. I'm gonna place that exactly where I want it to go, and place the inner corner exactly where I want it to go. And again, I'm just kind of pushing it right into my eyelid, and then I'm going all along the band and making sure every magnet is on that line. And it is. And I'm going to tug the corners and just make sure they're on there good. And they are. Okay, and that is it. And these things will last all day long until you peel them off at the end of the night. They, like I said, the closest you can get to your natural lash line, that's how you're going to get it to look like they are your real lashes. You don't want a gap. And that, again, is just practice. So yeah, that's it. They will last me all day long, like I said, until they take them off, and they are fabulous. And especially if as you wear them more and more, you won't notice they're there. Sometimes when you first put them on, you're like, oh, I can definitely like kind of tell that there's something there. You'll get used to it, and literally after a couple wears, you won't be able to feel them at all. I cannot feel these at all. If you do feel something in the corner of your eye where it's like poking you, you might have it a little too close, a little too close to, I don't know what that part is called, like the inner part of your eyelid. Okay, so definitely be careful and not have it too much inside your eyelid. You don't want it curving down too much. Could also mean that you need it to be trimmed because it's coming too far in. So it should not hurt. If it hurts, you might need to readjust where it is on your eyelid. But that's it. Please, please, please reach out if you have any questions or need any help at all. I would love to help you. So yeah, hope you enjoy your new Instalash lashes.